if you have, for example, French panes or cut-ups, then the design of the radial and the radial LITE is the radial LITE is a double trim and the radial brush is a triple trim. So really the best brush for cut-ups is the radial. The radial, right? Yo. Right, so radial has one trim, two trim, there's about a centimeter less, and then another centimeter less down to the third trim. So if you've got cut-ups, these bristles are going to go over it. These inside bristles, if you can see them, right, they will also clean the frame, but they won't catch on the frame. Whereas if you get a rocker, you can't put a rocker on a cut-up because the rocker itself will catch on the frame, right? And if you look at LITE, that's why we call it LITE, right? Because it's much, much smaller. It's much, much more nimble, but it's got a single row of bristles around the outside and then the two soft bristles on the inside. And again, you could use that really easily on French panes, cut-ups and stuff like that. If you've got corners where you get spider webs, so not everybody gets spider webs in the corners of their windows, right? Or spider nests. But certainly for everybody that does, that's why we put the radial bristles on there, so because you can turn the brush through the corners. So you're not everybody else's brush, including the constructor brush in the past. You have to kind of go into the corner like this, and now the technique is go like this, and then as you turn the brush down, all the water runs off the top of the brush and flushes it, because those spider webs are sticky as anything. Usually, if I go back to my old days, we used to have to go back up and chase the spider webs down with the rinse water. Well, that's all gone. That's all dealt with the volume of water that we push across the top, and it flushes it down, and you never have to chase a spider web. So that's the corner of the frame. Like if there's a corner and the little guy gets in there, and or little whoever they are, but anyway, they make babies in there, and that's what happens. So and then we have, by the way, on the French panes, we actually have a very unique brush. We've got a 6-inch brush. What's that? That long? And we've got a 6-inch brush for just cleaning the glass of French panes, because sometimes you don't want to clean the frame, and other times you have to clean the frame, right? And that's what David was getting to, because he's from the UK, and cleaning frames is expected, because the traditional guys in the UK have always cleaned the frames. They've always wiped them down. So the water-fed guys came along and said, I'll just clean your windows. And the customers said, well, what about my frames? My old window cleaner used to clean my frames. So what we don't have is we don't have any brush designed which has downward facing bristles, right? So there's some on the market, and they're really designed for the UK, for that UK area, with the painted sills that are 120 millimeters deep and on 15 degrees angle or something like that. And so what our solution to that, if it suits, if it's ground floor, it's fine, right? Because the pivot is designed to be incredibly flexible. So you can go up and around and upside down and everything really, really nimbly, you know. So when we do a Reach It workshop on this, we'll actually have video of that, right? About how nimble this brush is and how you can get around inside, upside down, and all the way around a frame to surfaces and sides and everything, and clean it properly. So that will be the way. So in the UK, if it's ground floor, then the pivot is amazing, because you can just, you know, get onto that bottom sill. But what we don't have is, if it's a second story sill, you're not going to, you know, adjust. You could adjust the gooseneck and do this, but on the other side, you might say, well, I've got a brush with downward pointing bristles, and I'll just clean with that. And I would agree with you. Like we don't, we've played with it, but we don't have a solution for it. So that's not really our sort of target at this point, is to solve that problem.